Hi guys, this is Dan for EvECoPilot.net, and today I'm not here for a tutorial. Today I'm here to tell you about the nature of EvE, and it's something that a lot of players don't understand. If you come from games like WoW, pretty much any other MMO, it's not as hostile as EvE. For example, if you go into WoW and someone steals something from you, you can go to a GM and you can go, this guy stole my stuff, and they'll give it back to you. If you go to a GM in EvE and say, someone stole my stuff, they will just laugh at you, and they will laugh so hard you'll probably cry. Now, the first thing I need to make clear is that there is a clear distinction between ethics and cheating. Now, there are no ethical boundaries in EvE. I could tell you that my mother just died and I need 20 ISK, to buy a ship to get to her funeral, whatever. Anything I tell you in EvE could be a complete lie, and from a GM or game mechanic perspective, you don't have a chance. Okay, as long as you work within the rules of the game. Cheating or exploiting is the other side of that line. If someone does something, an exploit, something in a way that the game wasn't intended to be played. So, for example, they take advantage of a glitch in the market, which means that you think you're buying an item for 1000 ISK, it tells you you're buying an item for 1000 ISK, but because of a glitch in the game, now that isn't allowed, and that's not stood for by the game. So there's got to be that distinction between ethical stealing and then stealing through exploits and cheats. Now, with that in mind, there's a lot of ethical ways that people can screw you. And a lot of players in EvE spend their whole EvE career for many years purposefully screwing other players. Okay, so for example, pirates. Okay, pirates live outside of the laws of EvE, right? They fight against Concord. They don't care about Concord. So anytime you go into a low sec system, a 0.4 system or below, you go into dangerous space, and this means that Concord won't come and help you. But Concord still monitors what's going on. So basically, you fly into low sec, a pirate will come along and kill you, and Concord will see that you killed you. He will dislike him, or the pirate will gain negative standings with Concord for that action, but the pirate doesn't care. He'll just kill you anyway. He'll kill you, he'll catch you in space and hold you there until you pay him, and then probably kill you anyway. And that, I think, is the first lesson in EvE. If anyone ever catches you to the point where you can't escape and tells you they will let you go if you pay them, don't ever pay them. They'll blow you up anyway. There are certain pirate corps that will honour that agreement, but they're few and far between. As a general rule, if you get caught, you've lost your ship. Just smile about it, tell them to get lost, and move on. Now, there are a lot of scams in the game that are within this ethical boundary. So, for example, I could tell you that I want to sell you a large gun, and I want to sell you this large gun for 200,000 ISK. Okay, so I open up a trade window with you, I put a large gun in, you put 200,000 ISK in, and then very quickly, before you have a chance to see me doing it, I take that large gun out and I put a small gun in, and the icon may look exactly the same, and if you don't notice, then you're basically buying a small gun which is worth 10,000 ISK for 200,000 ISK. If you do that, it's your fault. If you go to EvE and say, this guy told me he was selling me this and he was actually gave me this, they'll laugh at you. You've got no. So the second lesson is, if you're going to buy something and you're buying it directly from another player, be 100% sure that that item at the time you click OK is exactly what you think it is. For example, you get a lot of items that have very similar names, that have drastic different values, and again, this goes on to the market as well. If you buy something from the market, be very careful about the actual price you're paying. It gets very hard because you deal in millions and billions of ISK sometimes in this game. Buying a module for 1 million ISK is no big deal. Now, the difference between 1 million and 100, and a billion ISK is a very small difference. And again, if you buy something that's exceptionally overpriced, EvE will just laugh at you. Now, there are safeguards in place to a degree. If it's over, I think, 100% more than the average market value, it will now warn you. But that's a new safety feature, and that's only been implemented quite recently. But again, if you're going to buy something off the market or from a player, just make sure you're sure of what you're buying and you're sure of the price that you're paying for it. I fell for it myself. I brought 1,000 pieces of ammunition a year ago that I thought I was paying 1,000 ISK for, and I paid 1 million ISK for every one, and I lost 1 billion ISK, and that was my own fault. And I went to EvE, to CCP, to a GM, and went, "This guy ripped me off." And he went, and the GM turned around to me and said, "This item was advertised at this sale price, and you brought it. Now go away." And I did. I tucked my tail between my legs and took it. But things go a lot further than this. You get scams where joining a corporation can be a scam. Okay, so you are a new player and you decide you want to join a corp. So you look around and you see some guy in a really flashy ship, and he's flying around with all his friends and blowing everything up. You think, "I want to do that, that's great." So you'll go to this player and you'll say, "Hey, can I join your corp?" And he'll say, "Yeah, sure, come on in." And they'll bring you into the corporation, and then they'll tell you that they need you to relocate. Okay, so come and live with us, come and live in our space. And at which point, if you've been playing the game for a while, you're going to have 5 or 6 different ships, maybe 30 or 40 different items, and you're going to have to run every single one of them over to them. And what they'll say to you is, "Oh, look, don't worry about it, buddy. Like, we'll move them all for you. Just we've got ships that are huge, and they can carry all your ships, and we'll get it done for you in 5 minutes flat, and it'll all be taken care of." At which point, you and your newfound friends get together and you put all your ships and everything you own into their ship, and they kick you from the corp and they steal it, and you're sat there in one ship with no other ships, and they kick you from the corporation. And then the next thing is, they'll probably, before they kick you from the corp, they'll probably get into one of your ships and then kill you with it, because as soon as you're into their corporation, they can shoot you for free. Concord doesn't get involved in acts of aggression between a corporation. So they'll invite you to the corp, get all your stuff, use your own stuff to kill you, and then kick you out of the corp and run off with all your gear. And you're there on your own with one ship, and all you can do is cry. Now, there are other sort of mischievous things that go on in EvE. For example, spying, or what we call metagaming, is a huge part of late game EvE. So pretty much, if you're in a big alliance, most big alliances in EvE, so just say for example that EvE was a lot simpler and we had 4 big alliances. One was in the north, one was in the south, one was in the east, and one was in the west. Every single one of those alliances would have secondary characters, or what we call alt characters, in these other alliances, posing as members. And this goes on. Pretty much every major alliance has multiple spies on inside the alliances of their enemies, on the forums of their enemies, on TeamSpeak with their enemies. If you're in a big alliance and you go somewhere, your enemies knows about it, because your enemy is actually in your fleet. And the problem is, this is very hard to figure out who it is. You're talking about a corporation with 2,000 members in it. Any one of them, with the exception of a trusted few, could potentially be a spy even. And that's just an accepted part of EvE. How do you find this guy? He plays like everyone else, he's on comms like everyone else, he shoots the enemy like everyone else, yet he's actually on a second TeamSpeak server transmitting everything that they say. And how are you going to find out which guy that is? It's very hard to do. And again, it's just the nature of EvE. Because if you can get away with it, there are no laws in the game about the ethics of the game. One of the most common, for those of you that are mining out there, there's the rules of aggression in EvE are quite complicated. So, you know, as you're mostly new players, I'm going to assume that you're all in Empire space, in high security space. Now, there's a lot of things that people can do that will cause them to become a valid target to you. And you can tell a valid target because hopefully he'll be flashing red. Now, for example, if you're mining and you decide that you want to start mining into a can. Now, we haven't covered can mining yet, but that's something that I will do. And basically the idea behind can mining is that you fill up your ship with ore, and then you put all that ore into a can next to your ship, and you keep mining until the ore's filled up, and then you go and get a ship with a much bigger cargo hold, and you come and collect the ore. It's more efficient. It saves you having to keep going back to the station. But again, we'll go into that in a bit more detail. The key point to that is that you have this can in space. Now, the same thing works if you're killing rats. Okay, so when you kill a rat, that rat leaves a wreck behind. That wreck contains loot which belongs to you. Okay, so that wreck is essentially yours. Now, another player can quite happily come along and he can steal the contents of that wreck. Okay, he can just take it out of the wreck and put it into his cargo hold. Now, if he does that, he then becomes aggressed to you, which gives you permission to shoot him. What it doesn't do is give him permission to shoot you. He can't steal from you and then shoot you. He'll get attacked by Concord. However, if he steals from your can, and then he then becomes available for you to shoot. If you do shoot him, he can then shoot you back. So this is what players do. They'll see a new player, they'll see him out in a belt killing some rats, and they'll run up and they'll steal one of your wrecks, and then they'll come flying at you. And what you basically see is a guy appear. He then turns flashy red and starts flying towards you, and he's locking you up, but he's not shooting you. He's just got you locked. But this is a bit of a panic mode for a new player. Suddenly there's this guy and he's red and he's targeting you, and what do? You shoot him, right? You think, oh god, okay, I better hit him. And then as soon as you fire that first missile, that's what he wants you to do. As soon as you fire back, he can then shoot you, because you've now aggressed him. And as soon as he does that, he's been playing for 3 years, his guns are much bigger than yours, and you're in your pod wondering what the hell happened. The key to this, and the thing to learn regarding cans, wrecks, is basically, if you don't shoot them, if you don't shoot anyone, and you don't steal things from other people, they can't attack you without being killed by Concord. But a lot of people don't know this, so they shoot back. And as soon as you shoot back, you're now aggressed to them. That's a big thing against new players. A lot of new players leave the game because every time they see this guy, they try and kill him, and he gets killed. You know, suddenly you're in a pod, and then the next time, because you don't understand what happened, you make the same mistake again, and you end up losing all your ships. You get annoyed, you're not enjoying the game, and you quit. If you just ignore him, the best advice I can give you is that if you're in Empire, and if you go to steal something from another player, you'll get a warning saying that what you're about to do is a crime. Click no, and then you won't have committed a crime. If you haven't committed any crimes, people can't kill you without the police killing them. So if someone flashy red comes flying at you out of nowhere, and you get off, just stop, relax, take a look at the situation. Okay, what have you got nearby? What have they done? And then, like this happened to one of my new courtmates here, who you can see in the EvECoPilot channel with me. Then what you do is you call one of your friends that has been playing for a long time, who has big ships, and you tell him that this guy has come along and he's flashy red to me. Because if you're in a player corporation and someone aggresses you, They aggress your entire corporation. So what I will then do, as I did, is I will get in my ship, I will fly over to where my new player is, I will find the guy that's flashy red, and I will shoot him. And as soon as I shoot him, he can shoot me back, but my guns are bigger than his, and you are still sat there perfectly safe. So yeah, I mean, aside from that, yeah, these are sort of just some of the basic scams, some of the scams and trickery that go on in EvE, and it's perfectly accepted, and it's understood that this is the game of EvE. It's not a friendly, fluffy game. It's very cutthroat, and the bottom line is double check everything you do. If you're spending money, make sure you're spending the right amount, and make sure you're getting what you think you're getting. And the second rule is don't trust anyone. Don't trust me. If I'm not trying to recruit someone to help me out, if someone, I do it myself. I rip people off. I steal from people. Everyone in EvE is capable of doing it. And I'm not going to turn around and go, I have perfect ethics in this game. I don't. I deploy spies into corporations that we fight. Everyone does it. It's part of the game, and you need to adapt to that and get used to it. Things like mercenaries. You get entire corporations of people, and they're mercenaries. All they do is they take money from players, and then they kill people, and they kill the people that the guys that are paying them tell them to kill. So what you basically get as a corporation, or even as an individual player, is suddenly there's 40 people and all they want to do is kill you. Why? Because someone's paid them to do it. Can you stop them? No. Can you find out who's paying them? No. They won't tell you. And as long as they're paying, they will keep killing you. And if they want to, they can stop you ever undocking from a station. No matter what you come out in, they'll just blow it up. And they could literally keep you like that until they run out of money. And some people have an awful lot of money. And that's just the way EvE's played. But at the same time, this works both ways. Down the line, you're going to make the money, and you're going to be able to sort of, once you get a better understanding of how this game works and how these tricks and traits are played, you can use them to your advantage as well. So the bottom line is, don't trust anyone. Make sure what you're buying is what you think you're buying, and just generally a little bit of common sense is normally all it takes. Just apply those rules. You should be able to get through your first couple of months in EvE without being killed too many times. So on that note, I'll sign off, and yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.